Today is very exciting because Ribble has revealed not one, not two, but 3 brand new bikes as part of their new all-road range. And we've got our grubby little hands on them for a closer look. Whether you're looking for a high-performance road bike, a great value road bike, or an e-road bike, then Ribble reckon they've got you covered. So let's check them out. So the 3 bikes that you see here make up the first phase of Ribble's new all-road range. Of course, they're far from the first to call something all-road, a term which has been batted about the cycling industry over the last few years and usually refers to bikes that kind of don't really fit into the classic road bike category, but also don't fit into the gravel bike category. They do, however, say that the emphasis of these bikes is firmly on the word road. These are bikes that have world-class aerodynamic performance, but can also take on mixed terrain adventures, all without compromising on that speed and comfort. Basically, according to Ribble, this is just the way that road bikes are going. And these bikes are the result of designing bikes for riders like me and you, amateurs who want speed and everyday usability, rather than designing entire bike ranges around 8 very sweaty, very skinny, and very flexible blokes who always seem to live in France. Now, a few years ago, I might well have thought that Ribble were crazy, releasing high-performance road bikes with space for up to 38mm tyres, and that one's even got internal storage. But given the way that things are going, this could very well just be a glimpse into the near future. Now, obviously, I'm going to take a look at the most expensive one first. This is the new Allroad SLR, and basically this is Ribble's new race-ready road bike with the idea that it's also easy to live with every day. Just at a quick glance, and I can already see plenty of features taken from the Ultra SLR. That's a bike that I got to ride last year. For example, look at the way that these forks are bladed. Look at this bar, and it's got the same wake generators that cause a wake around the rider to supposedly make you more aerodynamic. And the seat stays, well, they're just a big middle finger to the wind. The bike does, however, have some more relaxed geometry than other aero bikes, and that means that it's far more likely that you'll actually be able to ride it in comfort without having a 7-day-a-week stretching routine. For example, this head tube is actually quite tall, and the bike isn't as long as a lot of race bikes out there. In fact, the stack to reach ratio is quite similar to the Canyon Endurace that we tested last year. But unlike on that and most other endurance bikes, you get this race bike-esque seat tube angle that puts you over the pedals. As I said earlier, it's also got space for whopping 38mm tyres, which right now does seem pretty wild on a performance road bike. But then again, the Endurance SL disc seemed pretty radical when that released with 32mm clearance a few years ago. And now just about every road bike on the market and in the pro peloton has followed suit. What that means is when I get bored of riding my usual routes, I can go and find the very worst kept lanes in the UK, or I can ride along the towpath or the gravel cycling track along the old railway line when I'm lazy and want to ride the flat way home. In fact, even if you don't want to go near any gravel at all, that tyre clearance is still really useful because the SLR also has mudguard mounts. What that means is you can still have your nice plush 32mm road tyres and fit full mudguards. You can tell that Ribble are British, can't you? Ah, yes, it's also got this internal storage. So under this flap, you get space for all manner of things. It's quite a spacious compartment. You can put your tools, a spare tube and whatever else in there, and then you've got more space in your pockets for snacks. You can't see it, but Ribble tells me that this bike also has an entirely new carbon layup. They're most advanced ever, apparently. The engineers did explain all about the blends of M46 and T1000 fibres and all the maths of using different layups strategically placed around the bike. But in simple terms, it means that it should be stiff in all the right places, but then it's also compliant and buzz-free on our less good lanes. Right, so prices. This one here is 7.5 kilos. This is the Hero spec with Dura-Race Di2 and will set you back £8,299. There is also plenty of cheaper models though. For example, this Allroad SLR starts at £2,999. But I reckon the one to go for would be the Enthusiast model with 105 Di2, Mavic carbon wheels and a price tag of £3,999. Where Ribble usually really shines though is with their mid-tier bikes. So this next one, the Allroad SL, has some pretty big boots to fill. The general theme of wider tyres, more aero and taking learnings from that Ultra SLR continues. And Ribble says that this new one is lighter, stiffer and more aerodynamic than the award-winning bike that it replaces. You still get a full carbon frame and fork that features those different types of carbon fibre used in different places across the bike. For example, up here in the head tube and down here in the bottom bracket, a stiffer carbon fibre has been used to help the bike translate your power into forward motion. And then in other areas, a less stiff carbon has been used to help soak up the many road imperfections. Speaking of which, this bike has space for up to 35mm tyres and once again comes as standard with 32mm rubber. Now, if you haven't given tyres this wide a go on the road yet, then especially if you live in the UK, you really should try it. I used to race on 26mm tyres, then I switched to 28s, and after speaking to loads of clever wheel manufacturers, I then got convinced that 30s are actually just as quick. For training though, I now like to use 32mm tyres, just like these, because you lose such a tiny amount of speed, and in return you get a nice big jump in comfort, especially when the roads are bad, and wide is usually actually faster. When it comes to geometry, the Allroad SL has a slightly more upright position, which Ribble call all-day comfort. And that should be better suited to riders who aren't doing the same mileage or perhaps aren't as flexible. This bike is available in 3 different levels. This one is the Enthusiast model, and that has an RRP of just under 2 grand. But there's also a 3 grand Pro model if you wanted it to come with carbon deeps and 105 Di2. Or for £1,699, there's the Sport model that comes with Tiagra. Of course, being Ribble, there is not really just 3 options to choose from, because if you head over to their website, you can not only choose from loads of different colour options, but you can also build your new bike exactly how you want it. You can choose a wheel upgrade, you can choose which bike saddle will suit you best, and I think most importantly, you can choose different bar and stem combos, so different sizes and stem lengths. Something that is often overlooked when buying a new bike. And finally, we have this beast. This is the new Allroad SLR E. And simply put, it's an e-bike version of the Allroad SLR with a nearly identical frame, the same carbon construction, still space for those 38mm tyres. And really, the only way you'd be able to tell them apart is this slightly larger down tube or the Marl X20 drive system hiding in the rear wheel. Or the fact this one's purple. The main stats are a claimed range of 140k or 200k with the additional range extender. This model is under 12 kilos, 11.8, and you get a healthy serving of 55 Newton meters of torque. It's like getting kicked up the backside by a footballer. What I really like about this though, is that it doesn't look like an e-bike, and Ribble haven't just thought, well, if someone rides an e-bike, then they're not interested in how a bike looks or aerodynamics or how it goes around a corner. This is, to all intents and purposes, the very same bike as the one that we've just seen, just with a helping hand on the hills. So the SLR E that this replaces was actually launched before the real e-bike boom happened, and we think that in part it's definitely a reason why e-road bikes have got so popular, especially in the UK. The old model proved that you didn't have to compromise a bike feeling like a road bike to have that electrical assistance, and was one of the first to not weigh an absolute ton. In fact, we gave it a 9 out of 10 review, but you're going to have to wait a few weeks before you can read the full review of this new one. The SLR E is once again available in 3 suggested builds: Sport, Enthusiast and Hero. This one's the Sport, and prices start at very competitive £3,999. So that is the new Ribble Allroad range in a nutshell, but we have been told to keep our eye out for a new titanium model in the near future. Let us know which one of these bikes you'd most like to take for a spin in the comments section below, as well as what you think of these new releases. For more information on any of these bikes, you can find a link in the description to the Ribble Cycles website. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel to stay up to date with all the latest bikes and cycling tech, and we'll see you next time. Welcome to another episode of Countryfile. On today's show, we have grass, we have trees, and stay tuned for the weather forecast. Oh, and also a bike.